Hey, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Notes from the Edge. I am your host, Lisa Lacy, and this is the place where we talk about the conversations that we should have been having all along. You're not saying it, so we're gonna. And today we're gonna be talking to Mia Godfrey, and we're gonna be talking about Kenny too, who couldn't be here today because he's traveling. But they together are authors, speakers, and advocates for healthy relationships. My oh my, do we need some help there? Blended families, and of course, second chances. And don't we all need one of those? Together, they share an honest story of rebuilding life after profound heartbreak. Mia is a certified life coach, speaker, and author whose personal journey includes loss, healing, and discovering hope again. And Kenny is the co owner of Godfrey Glass Company and brings a perspective of rebuilding family, trust, and partnership after divorce. Their book, A Second Sunrise Together, The Couple's Guide to Trust, Remarriage, and Blended Families. I tried that once. It's very challenging, offers practical wisdom for couples navigating remarriage, parenting, grief, forgiveness, and creating lasting relationships and strong bonds rooted in honesty, faith, and intentional chosen love. They remind us that while the first chapter of life may not have been easiest for us, the next chapter we write can be filled with ease and grace. Mia, welcome to Notes from the Edge. How are you today, my friend?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's exciting to have you here. I think there's not enough talk about blended families and how to do that, and so we're going to get into that. But let's open up with the loss that you and Kenny had experienced before finding each other. What parts of you had to heal before you were truly capable of being in healthy relationship?
Thank you. That's such a good question. For me, the biggest healing wasn't from becoming a widow, which is, sounds so weird. It was actually healing that version of myself that believed that I had to earn that love. I carry
Mm.
so much childhood trauma, abusive relationships, addiction, and years of believing that my worth depended on what I could do for everybody else. So here I became a widow and I was struggled with so many emotions that I did not know how to process. So when my first husband passed away, I wasn't just grieving him. I was also grieving the life that I thought I was going to have for the
Mm.
rest of my life. And I
Yeah.
had to learn who who Mia was without being someone else's wife or
Oh, that's
someone
big.
else's caregiver or someone else's rescuer. And then Kenny's healing looked completely different because he also had kids and he had to process the pain of divorce, disappointment, and the fear of opening his heart again and bringing a stranger in the house for his children. So
Mhm.
neither of us entered our relationship as a perfect healed couple, but we enter willing to heal together, and we had
Mm.
done enough personal work prior to meeting each other that we knew, both of us, that we weren't expected to fix
What
each
I
other.
love that you said is you were willing
Yes.
to heal and grow together. Because as long as you are both on the growth path,
hmm
growth is inevitable, even if it's just taking baby steps, a little bit of progress at a
And
time.
yeah,
So,
and I think that's what a lot of people is missing, and that's where the difference is that love shouldn't become your therapy. It should become the place where two people continue to grow together.
oh, I love that. I love that. Well, many people confuse protecting themselves with healing. Okay, you guys talk about that. How do we know the difference? How do we even know? Am I protecting myself or am I healing? Like, do I have armor up or am I available? How do you know?
Yeah. So that question hit home for me because I lived that deeply. For years, I thought that I was healed. because I built really strong walls around me.
That armor
I call
helps, right?
I call them boundaries. I believe in healthy boundaries, but what I was doing to protect myself, they were not boundaries. And if I'm honest, all of those walls that I was building, they were coming from fear. And healing doesn't make your heart harder. So
Mhm.
healing actually gives you the courage to become vulnerable again. And it took me a very long time, um, 4 years and a half, before I was actually ready to open my heart. So if I'm thinking what protection says, I will never let anyone hurt me again. But
Mm.
if I'm thinking what healing says that I will open my heart. But if someone hurts me, I now trust myself enough to handle it without losing who I am. So one
Oh,
comes from
that's
here,
so big. Yes.
one comes from here, the other comes from confidence that you're gonna be okay. And
Yeah.
I realized I wasn't healed when I noticed that I was avoiding connection instead of choosing it wisely. That was not healing, that was protecting. And real healing, um, it doesn't remove the risk, it just removes the belief that pain will destroy you.
Oh, man, that's so good because you know what? All relationships are going to be risks. And you know what? People are going to disappoint us. They just are because we are human
A
beings.
lot.
So I
Yeah.
I love this journey that you went on to start no longer self-abandoning, right? You were no
Mhm.
longer
Yeah.
abandoning yourself
Yeah.
and you were trusting yourself
Yeah.
instead.
Yes.
And that is the healing journey, not
Yeah.
the nope, never happening again. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not talking to anybody.
Yes. Okay. So,
Yeah.
guys, if you're saying that to yourself, you might need some little internal work going on there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. So, let's talk about blended families because I think this is one of those conversations we're not having enough of. And there's not a lot of books on how to do it well. They often carry invisible grief from a multitude of directions. And grief is a beast to work through, and it can sneak up on you. What have you learned about creating emotional safety for your blended family?
That's so powerful. One of the biggest lessons we've learned together is that everyone enters a blended family carrying different stories, different trauma, different life experience. And
Mhm.
some children are grieving a divorce just like the parents are. Some are grieving the
Yeah.
loss of the time with their parents. Some parents are grieving the dreams that they thought they will never change. So if
Mhm.
we ignore those stories in our partners and in our children, they're not just going to disappear. They simply show up as anger, withdrawal, resentment, and anxiety. So we learn to stop and ask, instead of asking who's right in this moment, we start asking what pain is underneath this reaction. And we did that
Yeah.
with the kids and we did that with us. And emotional safety comes when every person feels seen without immediately being corrected. And sometimes our greatest act of leadership as parents is not to give the right answers immediately. It's simply sitting with someone in pain long enough for them to know that they are not alone.
Yeah. And sometimes waiting for them to find their own answers, right? Yeah, because if you can hold space long enough, and that's challenging because if we're the fixers, we're the doers, we're the caretakers, we're the nurturers, like we're the moms, like we're like, oh, I want to take this from you right now. I want to fix it. So I'm going to tell you what to do. Terrible thing to do.
Yeah.
Terrible thing to do. So I love this idea of asking better questions. We talk in
Mhm.
here all the time about asking better questions. So that's a beautiful question. What is the pain? What pain is being expressed underneath this reaction right now? What is underneath the surface? Because you're getting to the kind of root layer instead of what you're seeing. It's about let's dig just one layer deeper to see what's really going on here. So you're right. Everybody feels seen,
Yeah.
heard, and validated and has a place to express
Mhm.
all of that grief. So it doesn't turn into anger or addiction or resentment or detachment or isolation or the million different ways that can express itself that can be destructive. So I absolutely love that. So this is a big one because my husband and I have gone through this process. Trust is not rebuilt through words. It is not. What daily practices help build trust that actually is sustainable, believable, and that lasts?
Yes. A lot of times when you step into a blended family, we think of the big moments, to buy present, to try to impress the kids, but trust isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the ordinary ones. It's built in keeping promises, showing
Oh,
up when you said you would,
yeah.
having hard conversation instead of avoiding them, apologize quickly. And it's hard as a parent sometimes to apologize
That's a
and
big
choosing
one.
right,
Yeah.
right. And choosing honesty, even when it's
Mhm.
uncomfortable. One thing that Kenny and I committed very early on was to never let assumption grow where the conversation should have happened. So we
Oh,
learn to ask, even the kids, to ask the question instead of assuming. And
yeah.
over time, those small moments created a foundation where trust could grow naturally. But trust in a blended family goes beyond the marriage, especially when the kids are involved. And
Yeah.
one of the greatest lessons that I had to learn quick, I thought I can step into the family and, oh, I'm gonna. I was picturing. I read a lot of book and I was picturing what it means to be a parent, a step parent, and I was just so wrong. Like you said, there's not enough good material there because
Mm-mm.
what I've learned that one of the greatest lessons was that my role was not to come into their lives and try to change them or discipline them because I didn't raise them. They were
Mhm.
already teenagers, at least in my case. So my responsibility was to love them unconditionally,
Mhm.
support them, cheer them on, and create a home where they always knew they were safe and deeply loved. Now, Kenny and I were very intentional about our roles. As their father, Kenny handled the discipline, and my
Mhm.
role was to support him as their dad,
As a unified front. That's
right?
so important.
Yes,
Yes. That's a big
support him,
one.
even if I didn't agree,
Yes, you
support
gotta be a
him,
unified front.
right?
Yep. And
Yep.
then have the discussion
Yeah.
behind the scenes,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Be like,
And
I don't know if I agreed with
yeah.
what you just did.
Yeah, but then build my own relationship with the kids through love, consistency, and respect. Because I wanted them to know that no matter what happened, I was going to back up their dad,
Mhm.
but I wasn't there to replace anyone or take over. And I
Yeah,
was there to be another person in the corner, someone who will always love them, encourage them, and believe in them. And
that's so
children,
beautiful.
right? Children don't need another authority figure as
Mhm.
much as they need another safe space. They need to know that they're not going to go through another breakup. They need to know that they're safe. So when they know your love isn't conditional on based on their behavior, their walls begin to come down slowly. We have to have patience because trust grows because they feel accepted and not judged. So
Well,
at
Mia,
the end
and
of the yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. At the end of the day, trust isn't built because someone says, "Hey, you can just trust me." It's built because over those 100 little moments when you show up for them and you show them that you care and you love them.
Well, and there's two words in there that you said that I feel like are so important, and that's consistency. Be consistent,
Yes.
but also respect. I
Mm,
mean, our children or stepchildren are individual human beings. And
yeah.
so if we approach them as individualized human beings, we're going to have a completely different relationship with them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference also the age that you're stepping in as their step parent.
Yes.
That will
Yes.
make a huge difference. Like I said, mine were teenagers.
Yeah. That's
So
tough and scary, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, what do I
It is
do here?
extremely scary, but my son, when he turned 21, he asked me to legally adopt him.
Oh,
So it was one of the sweetest, most amazing moments because I gave up the thought that I will ever be called mom or I will ever be mom because I couldn't conceive and I didn't have children on my own. So when he asked me, he was already an adult, and I say, I love you unconditionally. I don't need to have your name. And he said, but that matters to me. So
oh.
just don't give up. Just continue to love him unconditionally because God has a plan.
Yeah, yeah. Well, your book talks about second chances
Yeah,
and about not giving up, because in order to have the second chance, we have to keep going and not giving up. How do you know when you're truly ready for um another relationship, or
yeah,
just simply afraid of being alone, which is
yeah,
probably a bad time to jump, right? If you're just
yeah,
lonely, as
yeah.
opposed to, okay, I'm ready to drop the walls. I'm ready to let go of some of this armor. Like, how do we know?
Hmm.
What are some
So
signs?
yeah, one question changed everything for me. And the question that I ask myself over and over is if this relationship never happens, would I still be okay? When the
Yeah.
answer became yes, I knew I was finally ready. Because,
Mm,
like you said, loneliness makes us look for someone to complete us.
mhm.
But healing allows us to look for someone to complement us, not complete us. So if you're hoping for another person, that they will remove your fear, fix your identity, or heal your wounds, you'll eventually place a weight on that relationship that they were never meant to carry that. So a
Yeah,
healthy relationship isn't two um, incomplete people desperately trying to survive. It's supposed to be that two whole people choosing to build something even stronger together than they did individually.
I love that. That's so beautiful. So, Mia, if somebody out there is listening and thinks that everything is hopeless or beyond repair, what would you tell them today? What's one baby step they can take today to get to
I,
tomorrow?
I will tell them that your current chapter is not your final chapter. And there were moments in my life when I thought that everything beautiful that I dreamed of ended.
Mm,
Buried dreams, buried relationship, buried people that I love. And there were seasons when I couldn't imagine smile again. I remember one time I was sitting in front of the mirror and I said, I don't even know. I don't remember how my laugh used to sound. And I
mm.
couldn't picture that I will ever laugh again. Yet here I am. I'm as
And look at
happy
your
as that
life
I've
now.
ever been.
You can't
And
stop smiling since you've been on the
yes,
show.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's not because life became easy, but because God continued writing my story that I thought it was ended. And sometimes healing doesn't look like getting your old life back. And that's one thing we have to remind ourselves, that you might not have the old life back. Sometimes healing looks like discovering a future more beautiful than you ever imagined, because your scars don't disqualify you. They become the evidence that you survive. And in our book, Second Sign Rest Together, um, we wrote that because sunrise, we always told each other, sunrise always follow after the darkest night. Not
Yeah.
immediately, not easily, but faithfully. So if you're willing to keep taking one step at a time, your second sunrise is still possible.
And it'll be beautiful. I love your story. Well, Mia, where can people find you and Kenny and find your beautiful book?
We try to keep everything easy. So my name is Mia Godfrey. His name is Kenny Godfrey. So our my the link my LinkedIn account, Facebook account, and Instagram, Mia Godfrey, and my website is Mia Godfrey. So if you know my name, you will find me. If you know
Easy
his
peasy.
name, Kenny Godfrey, you will find him because he's attached to me everywhere I go as well.
I love
And
that. I love that. And
um,
guys, you don't even have to write that down. We're going to put it in a
yes,
clickable link right underneath this
and
episode.
and I do have the book
Oh,
here,
that's
and it's
beautiful.
me and my husband.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
currently, it's in pre-orders, but you can find it on Amazon, and hopefully, by mid-September, we'll also have it on Audible.
Oh, that's so
So, yeah,
exciting. Guys, get it in pre-sale. Get the book in pre-sale. That'll help them a lot. If you're in a blended family, if you're entering a blended family, highly recommend specifically for that. Also, if you want healthy relationships and you're looking to really heal internally so that you can walk into your next one. And I love the way Mia puts it, not to have somebody complete you, but complement you and grow together with them. Highly, highly recommend. All right, Mia, we always close out with 2 questions for our guests. Are you ready?
yes.
Okay. The first question is, in your own life, what did you perform just to survive? And what did dropping that role, mask, or performance do to improve your life?
Oh, wow. What I did, I became addicted to overworking. I got 3 jobs, getting up at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. until 11 p.m. I constantly worked in order to avoid dealing with my own feelings.
Mhm.
When I lost my husband, I did not believe in coaching or therapy, or I just read books on my own, and then I isolated myself from the world.
Mm.
But overworking is the thing that I went to, which completely ruined my health for 40 years and a half because I've never took time to rest, not even weekends, Saturdays and Sundays.
Wow. Wow. So finding rest helped you.
Rest.
Without guilt. Rest without guilt. That's the hard part. Yes.
Yes.
Because we workaholics, it's
Yes.
really hard for us to sit
Yes.
still. All right, last question, Mia. What do you want us to be talking more about? What conversation should we be having that we're not having in your personal world?
One of the thing that the reason we wrote the second book, that I feel like more people will need that reminder that a second chance isn't about finding a different person. It's
Mm.
about becoming a different person. So you have to constantly work on yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually before you're looking for another connection. So when you choose healing over bitterness, growth over fear, and faith over helplessness, you don't just rebuild a relationship, you rebuild your life. And that's what Second Sunrise Together is really all about.
Oh, I can't wait for people to get their hands on it, and congratulations
Thank
on
you.
getting it done. And friends out there, I am going to close out asking you the same question. What are you performing just to survive? And what might setting that role, mask, or performance do to lighten your load? I am your host, Lisa Lacy, here with our guest, Mia Godfrey. And when you find the answer, we will see you at the edge. Thank you, Mia, for being a part of our show today.
Thank you so much for having me.